bells shining, they all dare. Tougher, fists held high. Warriors fight till the night says die. FWE, where battles define. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. Who can say in a game, it's FWE. FWE, where battles define. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE. Oh, FWE, FWE. Oh, FWE, FWE. FWE, where battles define. Every broken bone, all by design. Chained to the thrill, they let it be. This ain't a game, it's FWE.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the new season premiere of Fantasy Wrestling Entertainment. Off the heels of FWE Paramount, the showcase of the Immortals, we welcome you inside of the Fantasy Dome. As I'm Seth Cole, soon to be joined by my broadcast colleague Jack Mitchell, and I'll hold the phone here. We've got something going on up on the Titantron here. Hello, FWE Universe. This is your FWE Commissioner from some undisclosed area, and I just wanted to touch base with you guys because, to be honest, I haven't necessarily kept you all in the loop for some time, and of course, I think I've had a pretty good reason for that, as myself and the rest of the Fantasy Wrestling Entertainment administration have been feverishly working on putting together what was, needless to say, an absolutely incredible card at FWE Paramount. I can't say enough about the men and women on this roster and the caliber of match quality that we saw on that night. Some incredible underdog stories, some incredible chapters written into the storyline of rivalries that are going to continue here into tonight's season premiere, and I believe going forward. But I wanted to take the opportunity here to catch you up to date on a couple of new things that we've been working on here in preparation for this new season. The first thing is that on March 19th, we are going to be having our Money in the Bank PLE, and while we still have one Money in the Bank briefcase that is still out there in the possession of Hulk, he still has until that date in March to be able to cash in that briefcase for a title shot wherever he wants, whenever he wants. But I wanted to make the announcement that we are going to be renaming Money in the Bank to Power Up, in which case at that point in time, of course, we will have two brand new briefcases, and let me tell you something, the design on them are incredible. But that is going to be the new name for our Money in the Bank, if you will. It will be FWE Power Up, and you will see that here live March 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But that's a ways away still here on the schedule. What is going to be in the here and now is it's been brought to my attention that we have some incredible high-flying talent in our women's division. And so a decision has been made by administration that we are going to have a new title belt in the women's division called the Women's Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Championship. Now what's going to take place is we are going to have, during the course of this next month, 4 one-on-one matchups. The winners of those respective matchups will go on to our next upcoming PLE, FWE Fallout, in which those 4 qualifiers will compete in a fatal 4-way ladder match to be crowned the very first Women's Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Champion. Title belt, I can tell you, looks amazing. Our design team has knocked things out of the park here in FWE, and they continue to deliver. And I want to wish the best of luck to those 4 women that eventually are going to be on the stage at Fallout and have a shot at being the inaugural champion in the women's cruiserweight division. And finally, a little bit of a somber note for me, but hopefully one that is going to be for the benefit of FWE as a whole. You see, I've had a blast here these last 7 months in administration working on putting together the best cards possible in all of our PLEs. From Saturday Night at Springfield to the Fairly Odd Partners Mixed Match Challenge. Infinity War Games was a bit of a headache for me having to deal with the family, but you know, it's all in stride. It's all part of the business. But the truth is now, I feel like I'm not necessarily going to be able to dedicate the time necessary here going forward, and I feel like it's important to have an FWE commissioner that is going to be there on site handling all of the business decisions right then and there and not remotely. And so therefore I've made the decision that I'm going to turn the reins over to somebody that I feel can handle this job, somebody that is qualified to handle anything that is thrown at them. And so it is with great pride that I am ready to introduce you all going forward, the man who is going to be the new FWE Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him, my good friend, Woody.
There's a new sheriff in town.
Well, it looks like we're going to kick off this season premiere of FWE with a bombshell. We got a new FWE Commissioner, and it's going to be none other than Sheriff Woody, who will be taking over administration here in the day-to-day aspect of FWE. And it looks like he might be coming down here to the ring, and we may end up getting I don't know, maybe a State of a Union address here from the new FWE Commissioner. This is incredible, incredible news. Woody gonna be backstage. He'll be handling all the different aspects that come with being an administrator here in FWE, including making matches, taking care of rivalries, handling all the backstage affairs. It's not an easy task, as we heard our now former FWE Commissioner mention. Woody's got a tall task to follow here, as he'll be heading us into our first PLE in a month's time at FWE Fallout. Of course, a lot still to clear up from what took place back at FWE Paramount as well. We'll see if Woody's going to be up to the task. Let's listen in and see what our brand new FWE Commissioner has
Howdy,
to say.
FWE Universe. There's a new sheriff in town. First off, let me thank the now former FWE Commissioner for this incredible opportunity. This is an amazing company, and I'm hoping I can help take it to new heights. We just came off of one of the best premium live events we have ever had when we tore the house down in Orlando, Florida at FWE Paramount. Amazing matches, incredible storylines, many of which will be continuing here tonight in our new season premiere. After the fallout from Paramount, many men and women will begin and continue their reigns as champions in their respective divisions. And on that note, please allow me to introduce the man who walked into and left Paramount, still your FWE Tri-Wizard champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jack Mitchell.
Woody, thank you for that introduction. Obviously, it is a massive honor to be standing for everyone here, still the FWE Tri-Wizard Champion. But after I put Ernie in the rear view and retained the title, I wanted to have that big moment of celebrating with you guys, the people who have stood behind me this entire time. Instead, Dylan Young decided to shove his face into somewhere it didn't belong, just like at the Elimination Chamber match at Mortal Kombat. I honestly don't know what the guy's deal is. If he wants to be upset that he lost the world title for a third time, he should be looking in a mirror and blaming the guy staring back at him. But instead, he's taking his anger from his own failures and shortcomings out on me. And that's not something I'm going to tolerate. So Woody, this is the first thing I'm going to ask of you as the commissioner. Give me Dylan Young one-on-one Extreme Rules.
I'm not going to lie to you, Jack. I love the sound of this, and I fully understand you wanting to get a piece of Dylan Young after what he's put you through the last few months. Actually, this is sounding a heck of a lot like what could be a banger main event at FWE Fallout on December 4th. But I can't help wondering why Dylan has been continually hovering around wherever that title belt seems to be. And I seem to get the suspicion that he's sniffing around for another shot at that Tri-Wizard Championship. So here's the thing. You want Dylan Young? Extreme Rules? Done. You got it. But only if you're willing to put that Tri-Wizard Championship on the line. The choice is yours, champ.
Deal. But I'm not putting this title on the line because he has earned the opportunity. He doesn't deserve that. I'm only doing it because if it's the only way that I'll get this match, then so be it. There isn't a single line I'm not willing to cross. Dylan, I'll see you in Las Vegas, and I'm going to make sure you know the house always wins.
Wait. I wasn't quite done, Jack. Hold on. I know you're going to be heading down momentarily to that commentary desk over there to call tonight's action. But don't get too comfortable, because see, you also have a match tonight. In tonight's main event, you will take on Dylan Young's Thrill Seekers partner, Kyle Matthews. But up next, we're going to kick off the evening with a rematch for the FWE Women's World Championship of the Galaxy. Thank you once again, FWE Universe. Have a great night and enjoy the show.
I'll tell you what, we haven't needed to have any build-up here. We're just getting started. We've already got ourselves a match for Fallout. As my colleague Jack Mitchell will be making his way down here, Women's World title on the line, up next on our season premiere.
Fallout in the air, breathing poison everywhere. Fallout, can't escape. We built the fire, now feel its weight.
Following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the Women's Universal Championship.
Getting ready here, Women's World title rematch from Paramount to kick off our season premiere here tonight. The Tri-Wizard champion Jack Mitchell joins me here at ringside on commentary. First off, Jack, I haven't had the opportunity to congratulate you on the title retention there at Paramount, but man, I'm trying to write down all these notes, trying to sort everything out here. There's a lot of information that's been fed here in just the first few minutes of our season premiere.
Absolutely. It's a total overload. I'm happy to still be the world champion, as I mentioned earlier, but I know that there's a lot on my plate right now, a lot on everybody's plate right now, but we've got quite the build already going to our next PLE Fallout Las Vegas, so let's get going.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, let me just go through this for those that may have missed the very opening of our episode here tonight. So you're going to be not only taking on Dylan Young in an Extreme Rules match for the Tri-Wizard Championship in the main event at FWE Fallout in a month's time. We also know that later on tonight you're in action against one of Dylan Young's best friends, his tag team partner Kyle Matthews, and we've also got here tonight, kicking this off, a rematch between what has been the longest reigning Women's World Champion, Elizabeth Swann, gets a title rematch against Mulan, who was able to cash in on winning the Royal Rumble match, wins the world title in a 2 out of 3 tables match last week at Paramount.
Yeah, this should be a very fun opener for tonight. Elizabeth Swann already going to cash in on her rematch clause that she had as the champion. 162 days as the Women's World Champion of the Galaxy. That reign came to an end at Paramount last Thursday.
Mulan. A lot of people really didn't look in the direction of Mulan until after she was able to defeat 30 other women inside of the Royal Rumble match at Royal Brawl. She kind of had that preemptive strike, if you will, on the Women's World Champion at the time, putting her through a table. That ended up bringing about the stipulation, and Mulan had a very good strategy going into that matchup as well. We ended up seeing her actually have to kind of fight from behind. Elizabeth Swann had a 1-0 advantage on her, but Mulan ran the table literally back-to-back tables really in the span of, what was it, about 30 seconds to be able to win the Women's World Championship for the first time in her career.
I will say, too, Elizabeth Swan also probably took a little bit more punishment than she bargained for because she put herself through a table in that matchup, which didn't count for a fall. So she went through 3 tables. Obviously, a very impressive display by Mulan in that matchup.
And let's bear in mind, this matchup here is straight up 1 versus 1. There's no stipulation in it at all. And we have seen in the past, we have seen Mulan lose some matches in a straight one-on-one, including to Moana. As let's head down to our ring announcer, Mike Rome.
Introducing the challenger from Kingston, Jamaica, Elizabeth Turner. And her opponent from the People's Republic of China, the Women's Universal Champion, the Asian Nightmare.
You mentioned that number, 162 days. This is going to be the first time since FWE Sugar Rush that Elizabeth Swan will be on the side of the ring as the challenger for the Women's World Championship.
It's been quite some time, to say the least, so definitely unfamiliar territory, uncharted territory for Elizabeth Swan. She gets ready to take on Mulan in that rematch.
Opportunity here for Mulan to prove herself here against one of the best in the business, Elizabeth Swan. When she held that title belt, defended it against the likes of Autumn Brooks, Shuri, Wonder Woman, who we understand after last week at Paramount, she's got a shot at the women's hardcore title. She takes on Jessica Shelton next week for that title belt. Told Jessica she could name the stipulation. We've been told that that's actually going to be contested inside of a steel cage next Thursday night.
That'll be fun to watch, a steel cage match for that title. That seems very, very fitting.
Drop kick to the outside there. Elizabeth Swan, the challenger, doesn't have that champion's advantage any longer that she's had in the past, as standing Spanish fly on the outside to the floor.
Mulan going to try and take some advantage of that, although as I say that, she works her way back into the ring. It can be pretty easy to deal punishment on the outside, as there's a big springboard forearm.
A lot happening in the women's division here in FWE. How about that announcement from, I guess we could say, the now former FWE commissioner, that we're going to have ourselves at Fallout a brand new women's cruiserweight champion, and we've got our first of our tournament matchups is going to be taking place later on tonight.
Yeah, that should be really fun. I'm excited to see what some of the women's division has in store. I love how we're continuing to highlight some of the more, I guess, the less highlighted portions of the divisions here in FWE. We get to see some more spotlight on those guys, so I'm really looking forward to seeing who gets the title.
The roster's just so expansive, right? And with us having more titles on the line, to your point, it allows us to be able to spotlight a lot more of those individuals on Thursday and Saturday nights. So, yeah, it can't be a bad thing if we're showing more and more of our individuals here on this roster. I mean, I echo what the FW commissioner said on the men's and the women's side. We've got incredible rosters from back to front.
That we do. Everybody here can wrestle, even if I don't always agree with some of the tactics here, especially based on what I've been going through these last few weeks. There's a cover by Mulan, the state champ.
And kick out at 2. Yeah, to your point, the talent is there. The morals, maybe not so much in some cases, but that whenever it's between the ropes, the talent definitely still showcases, no matter who the individual is. Mulan now taking advantage of the situation. Some knees right there into it. Looked like around the shoulder region, and that's pretty smart there. If you're the champion, of course, Elizabeth Swan, known for that Pirate's Plunge, and you have to use your arms as kind of a modified spinning cutter. A lot of pressure on that shoulder region. Spinning DDT there by Elizabeth, looking to win the title back, and a kick out at 2.
I think Mulan maybe took a little too much time to try to gain the favor of the crowd. Now they were both down for a moment. Mulan taking a little bit longer to get to her feet at ringside. Now she'll deliver some strikes. Oh, and just tossing Elizabeth Swann to that barricade.
And this is, again,
Oh.
champion's advantage. If there's a count out here by either individual, Mulan retains. So for Elizabeth, the sense of urgency has to be to get not only herself, but the champion Mulan back in between the ropes.
Had a couple reversals there. Momentum going back and forth in this matchup, and I think Mulan is all too happy to try to prolong that ringside interaction. Referee at a count of 7. Elizabeth Swann will work her way back into the ring.
Facebuster there by Mulan as the challenger re-enters in between the ropes. Mulan just one of a remote few that now holds that Women's World Championship of the Galaxy. Elizabeth Swann has held it, obviously, as we've documented, for the longest. Cruella de Vil, the second longest, as she was the original holder of the title. Big splash there by Elizabeth Swann, who surprisingly does not go for the cover.
She's
Might
waiting
be
for
setting
Pirate's
up for
Plunge.
something else.
Oh, maybe not.
Series of strikes. Pele kick.
Oh, hold on a minute.
Wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, that's Jasmine's music.
I think so.
But where is she?
Is she even here, or is this just a distraction?
Jasmine, a member of the Disney Queens, a teammate to Mulan. I think you're right. I think it was just her music hitting. That Jasmine looking around. I'm not seeing her anywhere in the arena, and Mulan taking advantage.
Mulan went for a springboard attack. It didn't fully connect, but it was enough to knock the challenger down. I'm so used to calling Elizabeth Swann the champion.
I know. Takes getting used to for sure, as Mulan was one of only a few individuals that went into Paramount as the challenger but walked out as the champion. Carson Gum being another, as he won the Cruiserweight Championship. Saw Jessica Shelton walk out with the Women's Hardcore title, and she's got that on the line next week.
Oh, what's Mulan doing here? Has her opponent lifted up. This is a dangerous spot. Big kick. I don't even know what you call that move, but it dealt damage.
Right into the face, and now goes in for the cover to retain the title. Might have taken a little too much time debating whether to go for the pinfall or not. Elizabeth able to kick out at 1.
I wonder if she was maybe considering whether there were any arms or legs under the ropes before deciding to just do it anyway. There's that huge kick.
Yes, it was. Lights out here, but Mulan, look at this, having to make sure that she gets Elizabeth away from the ropes. Here's the cover to retain the title against Elizabeth, and she'll do it.
How about that? Impressive title defense for Mulan.
Might have to give a little assist there to the distraction of Jasmine's music, but nonetheless, a win is a win. Mulan retains the title, and her reign atop the women's division will continue.
That it will. We're really excited now to see what else Mulan has in store. But up next, a little bit of revenge for something that happened in the build to Paramount. Aladdin is going to take on Hades in our next matchup here on the FWE season premiere.
If you think that any team chemistry can beat the bonds of sisterhood, think again. This FWE Women's Tag Team Division is going to learn what it feels like to fall to the greatest duo to hail from the halls of Arendelle. Ground game, bare-knuckle brawling, high-flying, technical prowess, you name it, we do it all. Bring on all challengers, we will always remain at the top of the tag team food chain. I'm Anna, and this is my sister Elsa, the best female duo in FWE competition. Send your best and we'll put them down. This is our division, and we are not letting it go.
Welcome back to FWE as we get set for a matchup that goes back prior to Paramount.
Making his way to the ring, representing the Outsiders, from Baghdad, Iraq, weighing in at 163 pounds, Prince
Jack, this goes back to the Fatal 4-Way qualifying matchups that we saw that ended up determining, well, it ended up being 50% of our Fatal 4-Way field for the Intercontinental Championship at Paramount. Aladdin suffering a tombstone pile driver to the floor, courtesy of Hades, not once, not twice, but 4 different times, looking for a little level of revenge here tonight.
Indeed, and it's impressive that he's able to make his return to the ring only a few weeks after suffering that punishment, but he's good to go. He's ready to compete. As you mentioned, though, he's only 50% of that Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. It was supposed to be a triple threat until RJ Bishop made his shocking return.
Of RJ, we'll see him later on this evening in tag team action, and something as well, asking about Aladdin being at 100%.
Presenting the Disciples of Darkness from the pits of hell. Weighing in at 220 pounds, the Warden.
Don't want to cut my Rome off there. As I was going to say, I'm not exactly certain that Hades is at 100%, because you go back to that Fatal 4-Way match, Hades was busted open. We saw him at the conclusion of the Paramount matchup. He was busted open. That wound on the head can't be fully healed. That could be a target if you're Aladdin.
Aladdin can very easily try some head strikes or other attacks like that can attack those weak spots. Obviously, he's had a little bit of time to recover. Not that much, but he had the week off, obviously not qualifying for Paramount, so he had a little bit of time to rest up. Hades has only had the week.
Obviously, Hades, the bigger individual in this matchup. But you've said it before, it doesn't matter how big they are. Speed, quickness, athleticism, it can take the bigger individual down. And Aladdin has all 3 of those aspects in his style of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Come on, ladies, sing along with Hades.
It's more, it is, we keep saying it every time there's a big size disparity, but it's absolutely the truth. And of course, nobody has a height advantage on you when you're horizontal on the ring mat, so Aladdin will definitely be trying to knock Hades down a few times in this matchup here.
Now, the last time these two were in a matchup together was that Fatal 4-Way. Now they take each other on one-on-one. As right out of the gate, there's that quickness by Aladdin. Sidesteps what I think was a drop kick there by Hades.
And immediately he's targeting the head. He was kicking up to the head all the way that high on Hades' body. It's hard to do. The size disparity is there. The height disparity is there. He's going to the cover really quickly. That won't be enough to put away Hades just yet.
Oh!
Oh!
Right into our referee there, Ernest Wright. Going for a drop kick there as he had Hades draped on the middle rope. Hades able to get out of that situation, and now a scoop power slam.
If you're Aladdin, I feel like you maybe wanted that momentum to continue just a little bit longer in your favor, because while Hades is as fresh as he can possibly be to start this match, there's a nice reversal. And another cover.
Gut. Yeah, cover right in here in the early going. Again, only a 1 count here. I'm wondering if you're Aladdin, are you just trying to catch Hades off guard, maybe get a quick pinfall victory here? Or are you of the mindset that if this matchup goes on, the power game of Hades is going to come into play and you're going to be in trouble?
I'm honestly not sure what he's feeling right now, but he's definitely gotten into Hades' head a few times. It can do that when you go into those early covers. He tried to go for a swanton there, but Hades got the knees up.
Of course, we got to remember as well, those 4 tombstone pile drivers that Aladdin suffered were not here inside the ring. They were on the outside, very little padding, concrete floor underneath. That not only does something to the head region, it does something to the neck region. And when you have a neck injury, even if it's not one that's going to end your career, every move you make is painful.
Absolutely. And, I think it's also worth mentioning as well, because we talk about how Aladdin could maybe target the head area.
Oh, gosh.
As he gets speared to the outside, Aladdin could maybe target the head area of Hades, but Hades could very well just do the same thing to Aladdin. They're ringside. Look out.
No. Now we know why oh my gosh. Now we know why Hades brought Aladdin to the outside. Shades of exactly what we were talking about. Tombstone on the floor.
Based on what happened a few weeks ago, that could already be it.
And you know that was at the forefront of Hades' mind coming to this matchup. He knew at some point he was going to want to try and put that same move on Aladdin once again.
He was, and I'm sure he's thinking about doing it again, honestly, after sending him into the steel steps. Our referee's at a count of 5. I'm honestly not sure. Oh, that was a brutal toss. I'm honestly not sure if winning the matchup really means anything to Hades. I'm sure he's
I
just
don't
trying
think he
to
would care.
continue to be attacking Aladdin at this point.
Aladdin back inside the ring, which might be the safest move for him. Stay away from the outside where Hades clearly wants his action to be. Nice tornado DDT. Did he sucker Hades in? Not even able to get a 1 count there. See how Hades just threw him off like a child?
I did, yeah. It's been going on for pretty much a good chunk of this matchup. It feels like every time.
Another
There's
cover.
cover, though. Hold that thought.
Looking to put Hades away, and this time at least he got a 2 count.
Feels like every time Hades has been able to get his hands on Aladdin, he's throwing him around like it's nothing. Oh, nice DDT there.
Aladdin keeping the pressure on. And there's a shot to that. I believe he just opened that wound up again.
Yeah, he did.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
But hold on. Oh, my
Oh.
gosh. Choke slam
That's
by
it.
Hades. That has got to do it. And Hades has won this matchup. All it took was 1 choke slam.
Show you girls around. My time. Here is your winner, the Warden Underground.
Aladdin targeted the head. He reopened up that wound, but it was not enough. Hades' power was just too strong in this matchup.
Museums of parts, works of art, all hey.
Dominating matchup here by Hades. Aladdin gave it his all. Continually tried to put Hades away, but Hades was not going to go quietly, and only 1 chokeslam was all it took for Hades to put Aladdin down. But up next, it's going to be tag team action. The Wayfinder Cruiser Champion Carson Gum teams up with the returning RJ Bishop to take on Dumbledore and Hagrid of the Order of the Phoenix.
The hottest spot in
You want to know how I got these scars? Not from wrestling, that's for sure. You see, because whenever I step inside of an FWE ring, I'm the one that's dealing out the punishment. And you know what? I love it. I sit backstage before my match just thinking of the many ways I can twist and torture my victims. That's the mindset of all of us in the Gotham inmates. Right, baby?
That's right, Puddin'.
So just remember that the next time you're standing across the ring from me, that although I may don an appearance of a man that borders on the insane, inside this head is a ticking time bomb of a brain, constantly calculating 1 move ahead of anything you can possibly imagine. So do yourself a favor, just stay out of our way. Otherwise, I won't be responsible for the consequences. FWE, welcome to your worst nightmare.
Well, we welcome you back here to FWE, our season premiere, the Fallout episode of FWE Paramount. Seems apropos that our next PLE coming up here, aptly named Fallout, as we're already starting to put together that card in preparation for our first PLE of this brand new season, and we get set now for tag team action. And the Order of the Phoenix, things did not go so well for this group as a whole at Paramount, Jack.
No, they did not. I mean, Hades, sorry, I'm still stuck in the last match. Hagrid was the one who qualified for the U.S. title match against Matt McIntyre. And of course, while he was successful in that 8-man Battle Royal match,
tag team match set
let my girl finish the job.
all the way to the ring, accompanied by Harry Potter at a combined weight of 453 pounds. The Order.
As I was saying, though, while Hagrid did successfully qualify for that matchup, Dumbledore did not, and Hagrid was unsuccessful in trying to capture the United States Championship from Matt McIntyre. So these two will be trying to sort of get their heads on straight again, kind of work back into a winning mindset here, get some momentum going in their direction. too sure what Harry Potter was saying to Dumbledore, or maybe Dumbledore was saying something to him.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Obviously, as well for Harry Potter, lost the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship to Carson Gum. So none of the members of the Order of the Phoenix coming into this season premiere with any type of championship gold. Makes things a little convoluted around that cruiserweight division here as well, because you got to think that Harry Potter at some point will be looking for a title rematch. You yourself still have a title rematch coming at some point as a former Wayfinder Cruiser champion yourself, so it's a lot to be sorted in the cruiserweight division, there seems.
Yeah, there's definitely, that's still in the back of my mind. I definitely haven't forgotten about that rematch clause. Obviously, I've got more important matters at hand, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of a cloud swirling around the cruiserweight division on the men's side, as we'll say.
If you're just joining us, folks, I mean, we just had a bombshell dropped on us earlier tonight. New on-site FWE commissioner, Woody, now in charge of administration here in FWE, and we had a shocker at Paramount last week as we saw this man, RJ Bishop, make his FWE return.
Tucson, Arizona, weighing in at 236 pounds,
Obviously, RJ was not successful in capturing the DC Intercontinental Championship from Robbie Gilvin in that fatal four-way match, but he looked good in that one, so really excited to see him make a full-on return to the ring here and be looking for a victory in this tag team match here tonight.
Teaming up here with Carson Gum in tag team action. The last time that we saw RJ Bishop prior to Paramount, he was in that blood feud with former tag team partner Nick Gunther at Vicious and Delicious. They had a best of 3 series of matches, RJ losing the rubber match, a last man standing match, and you hadn't seen him since he made his return last week at Paramount, but looks like a fresh look for RJ Bishop, maybe a fresh page here in his career to kick off this brand new season.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's worth keeping in mind, too. RJ was not himself during that rivalry. He had let this evil burger persona consume him over those last few weeks that he had with Nick Gunther. So he's back to being himself. He's turned a new leaf, as we've said, and we'll see what he can do with it as here comes the new Wayfinder Cruiser champion, Carson Gum.
Incredible month it's been for Carson Gum. He in effect called his shot throughout the challenge to Harry Potter for that cruiserweight title. Harry made him run his own goblet of fire. He had to defeat Dumbledore, Hagrid, and Harry Potter in succession. He did all of that, and then went on to Paramount, was able to put Harry Potter away, and for the first time in his FWE career, Carson Gum is in possession of singles championship gold.
That he is. And I think it's also worth noting, too, that match that he had with Harry Potter before Paramount was an interesting one because Harry attacked him during his entrance before the matchup, and he was still able to emerge victorious. And with Harry ringside in this matchup, I wouldn't rule out maybe some shady behavior.
It's interesting, too, because I was talking with Harry Potter earlier on today, and he put all the blame on Albus Dumbledore and Hagrid. He said they didn't do their jobs in wearing Carson down enough for him to be able to easily put him away at Paramount or in their matchup prior to Paramount. So, opportunity here tonight, he said, for Dumbledore and Hagrid to prove their worth.
That would be the case, but, you know, I don't know if I totally agree with that from Harry. I mean, obviously, yes, it is a little bit frustrating that your fellow faction members of the Order could not, you know, stall Carson Gum or soften him up enough to have that result go his way. But at the same time, as the champion, you've got to be ready for any opportunity that comes your way, whether or not you are prepared for it, whether or not anything does happen. I mean, yes, it can catch you off guard at times, but you got to stay ready no matter what.
Well, I think as well, you mentioned about the fact that in their first matchup there, Harry Potter put a cheap shot on Carson Gum. So if you're not able to capitalize on something like that, I think that you have to take a look in the mirror and try and figure out, who really is the one to blame. You can't just blame the rest of your faction mates for your shortcomings.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, use those underhanded tactics, and you still can't get the job done, I mean, who else do you blame?
RJ Bishop, Albus Dumbledore squaring off here. Ooh, nice drop kick there in the corner. RJ's going to go for the cover right out of the gate here on Dumbledore, who'll get the shoulder up at 1. We've seen some interesting tag teams get put together here in the past as well. I kind of cast my memory back to FWE Mortal Kombat, where we ended up seeing Autumn Brooks, Jessica Shelton tag up together. We've never seen RJ Bishop and Carson Gum tag with each other before. Obviously, Dumbledore and Hagrid know each other well, being part of the same faction, so we'll have to see here what the chemistry is like between the current Wayfinder Cruiser champion and former tag team champion and RJ Bishop.
Hey, you never know. You might be able to strike gold with these tag teams that you don't see coming, as there's a nice neck breaker by Carson Gum after he took out Hagrid, too.
Carson, a one-man wrecking crew right now, trying to take out both members of the Order of the Phoenix. Keep in mind there, referees at a count of 3. Gosh, we talk about this all the time. The deceptive power of Carson Gum.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be the largest man on the roster to have some hidden strength.
Carson back inside of the ring here, referee at a count of 7. Now Carson again gonna try and take Hagrid out of the equation. Another back body drop onto the apron.
Look at Dumbledore, though. He might be going over for a cheap shot on RJ. Our referee reset the count. It's not going to matter, though. Both men are going to be inside the ring shortly, although as I say that, Dumbledore takes a trip to the outside.
Referee begins the count again. Now both individuals have taken out their respective partners on each side as float over DDT there by Dumbledore on the champion.
I don't know if Carson should be too worried just yet. Obviously, it doesn't help that you don't have a tag team partner in this match, but he has beaten both Hagrid and Dumbledore in one-on-one contests. Oh, went for some kind of double axe handle there. Did not connect. I'm not sure what Dumbledore was doing. Maybe just tripped over that, but now here comes RJ.
Oh, wow. Massive drop kick there by RJ Bishop. Floors Dumbledore.
RJ going to look to dish out a little bit more punishment.
Tilt-a-whirl backbreaker there. Knee right on the lower spine. Cover is in. And Dumbledore able to kick out, which is a good thing because Hagrid was not up on the apron, would not have been able to save him. Oh, wow. Almost a combination, I don't know, like chop leg drop there by RJ.
Yeah, I don't know what you call that, but as I was going to say, Hagrid has been standing on the floor ringside,
Oh!
not on the apron for a long time as there's a stunner.
That going to be enough to put RJ away. Cover is in, and Carson Gum comes in to break it up at 1.
Could have been the end of the match if Carson wasn't there, but yeah, Dumbledore doesn't really have
Oh,
a tag
no!
team partner right now. There's a stomp. He might not
Massive
need one.
curb stomp. Dumbledore in on the cover again to put RJ away, and he'll do so.
Here are your winners, the Order.
That might have been exactly what Dumbledore and Hagrid had to do to get back in the good graces of Harry Potter. Massive curb stomp there by Dumbledore.
And Dumbledore, I felt like, did most of the work in that matchup. As I was saying, Hagrid was just kind of standing there on the side of the ring, not on the apron, so he couldn't have been tagged in, but Dumbledore said, I'll take care of it myself, and that he did. Up next, first round of the Women's Cruiserweight Tournament Championship.
I may have the appearance of a princess, but I have the heart of a warrior. Don't take the glitz and glamour at face value. I've quickly adapted to how one survives on the street, and am not afraid to get down and dirty if the situation requires it. Using my wide variety of skills, I'm ready to stay one jump ahead of the competition and enter into a whole new world of championship gold. My name is Jasmine, and with my girls, we're ready to take over the FWE Women's Division with an iron fist. I'm trapped behind the palace walls no longer.
later on tonight. We heard Jasmine's music playing, which ended up proving to be a very helpful distraction.
It's scheduled for one fall. Making her way to the ring from Jackson, Mississippi,
As I was going to say, it was proved to be a very helpful distraction for Mulan to be able to retain the Women's World Championship of the Galaxy in the rematch against Elizabeth Swan. But interesting here, as you mentioned, Jack, before we went to that commercial break, first of 4 tournament matchups that we're going to have here to determine who the 4 women will be that will fight for the brand new Women's Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Championship at Fallout. We're getting a little revisit here of 2 individuals that took part in the mini tournament we had to determine the #1 contenders for the women's tag team titles back at FWE Paramount. Ellie representing Catching Fireflies, and her opponent, Kita, representing Disney Strong Style. We saw those 2 teams go up against each other in tag team action.
Yeah, now we'll get a bit of a rematch here in singles tournament action. So a lot of tournament action for the women's side of things, but this one will be a much shorter one. It's just 4 one-on-one matchups, and then the winners will qualify for a fatal 4-way match to determine the new cruiserweight champion on the women's side.
The tag team matchup I referred to was the only one of that entire tournament that ended with a count-out victory. Ellie was the one that got counted out, so obviously looking for a little bit of redemption here tonight.
from the city of Atlantis, Kid.
And I remember that matchup very well. Also, it seemed like all 4 women in that matchup, pure strikers. It was maybe one of the hardest hitting tag team matches we had in that entire tournament. I expect nothing less here when we have Kita and Ellie in the ring at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that could be something that we are talking about a lot during this matchup, is the hard-hitting ability of these 2. Don't let the size fool you.
And I'm being told here as well that all 4 of our qualifying matchups to determine who will be the 4 participants at Fallout to fight to be the inaugural Women's Cruiserweight Champion will all take place each Thursday night leading up to Fallout. So on our main episodes of FWE, matchups will include Susan Storm taking on former Hardcore Champion Ariel, Shuri will be taking on Elastigirl, and Jasmine is going to be taking on Kim Possible. Those will be matchups coming up in the next 3 weeks leading up to Fallout.
Something worth keeping in mind, too, is that these 2 definitely did not draw the short stick in terms of when their matchup is taking place. They get the first match on the first week leading up to Fallout, so they're going to have the most rest. Whoever wins this matchup here tonight, they're going to have 3 weeks to kind of prepare themselves, maybe study film on who their competitors are going to be.
Fantastic point there as Ellie with the early shot, kind of a spinning forearm there off the ropes, but Kita now gains the advantage. Again, as mentioned, both of these 2 very reliant on their strong style abilities, swift kicks, and there you see both of them with an exchange of kicks right there.
It's on full display early on.
A lot went on here at the start of our season premiere here tonight. FWE commissioner role has changed. Woody is now in charge backstage in all administrative roles. We know that there's going to be a new title belt here in the women's division, which is currently what these 2 women are fighting for, an opportunity at that new Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Championship at Fallout is kick out at 2 by Ellie, early cover by Kita. We also know that our main event at Fallout is going to be yourself, Jack, Tri-Wizard Championship on the line, Extreme Rules against Dylan Young. We've seen this rivalry continue on, pretty much started to spearhead at Elimination Chamber back at Mortal Kombat, and we're going to be seeing it come to a very interesting conclusion when we get to our first PLE of this new season.
That we are. I mean, I really don't understand why I'm on the receiving end of all of his anger right now. You know, I get it. You're frustrated that you lost the championship for a 3rd time, but at some point, you got to look in the mirror.
I would go back to what our new FWE commissioner Woody said. It may not actually be personally against you. It may have been he would put these attacks on anybody that's holding the Tri-Wizard title.
Yeah, well, I'm the one that's trying to do something about it. So here we are.
Oh, here we go. The strikes back and forth here between Ellie and Kita.
That was a huge chop by Ellie. Crowd loving what they're seeing here so far in this matchup. Only kind of cornered here now.
And we understand next week as well, folks. Next Thursday night, we're going to have ourselves a fatal four-way #1 contenders tornado-style elimination tag team match. That's a lot of words, and it's going to take maybe a lot of explaining there. But one team will emerge victorious and be the new #1 contenders for the men's Disney tag team titles. As here's a submission locked in there by Kita, and I'm not sure if Ellie was able to slip out or may have been able to get her hand underneath that bottom rope.
There's a nice springboard forearm by Kita. I think Ellie may have just barely been able to work her way out of it, but there's a lot that we were able to process here tonight. I mean, obviously, I think it's a good thing that we've got an on-site commissioner now. I think that's going to really help out the FWE going forward. How about the new name for Power Up as well?
Yeah.
That'll create a bit of an interesting environment around that PLE, which is set for a few months from now.
March 19th, where we will end up seeing the Power Up Money in the Bank briefcases on the line. As I thought that was going to be it right there. I think Kita did too. Ellie just barely got that left shoulder off of the mat, and we've seen what those Money in the Bank briefcases can do. Of course, Elizabeth Swan's already cashed hers in. Hulk still waits in the wings with his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he's still got till March to cash that in. He's got a lot of opportunity still to hold on to that briefcase.
He does, and I mean, he can cash in on anything. You know, I'm obviously keeping an eye on him and what he does because he's got that contract, but at the same time, he could cash in on Matt McIntyre, he could cash in on Robbie Gilman. It doesn't have to be the world title.
That's a great point. Any title, any place, any time. Submission in here again by Kita. It's about the 4th submission she's had on Ellie. Ellie has not tapped out yet. Got to be some frustration if you're Kita at this point. You haven't been able to put Ellie away. Now Kita up to the top rope. Oh man, what a kick from the top. Picture perfect. And might have been going maybe for another submission there. Ellie able to kick out of that.
That she is. There's a nice springboard forearm from Ellie trying to reverse the momentum. I feel like she's been worn out from all these submission attempts so far, but now has a chance to get back on the offense. She's got a submission locked in on her own.
Draping guillotine. Almost a chokehold here from Ellie, trying to literally choke the life out of Kita, who's going to be able to fight out. Jawbreaker. This is just the first of 4 matchups that we're going to see during the course of this month. Winner moves on to fight for the new Cozy Cone Cruiserweight Championship at Fallout.
It's going to make that PLE even more exciting that we have a new debuting title on the line.
Oh, I was wondering what Ellie was going for. Big boot sends Kita to the outside.
There was trapped between the ropes, nothing she could do to try to work her way out of that.
And now locking in a submission here on the outside, trying to wear down that arm. Referee will now begin the count with both individuals outside of the ring. There's no titles on the line here or anything, so you could get a count-out victory to be able to move on in this tournament. It's like Ellie's going to put Kita back in between the ropes, though. Kita, or not make Kita, make that Ellie with the upper hand here. Well, as soon as I say that, now it gets met with a clothesline by Kita.
I don't know if she got all of the first one, but she definitely got all of that. Enough to knock Ellie down, and now maybe trying to set something up here.
Got her up and brings her down. Might be looking to lock in a submission once again. Almost a Rings of Saturn there. And I think I might have just noticed what happened there. I think it happened on the first exchange. Ellie was able to shift her hips and had Kita's shoulders down. That's why the hold was released.
That's a fantastic point. Ellie was able to work her way out of that hold. Big elbow. And a kick for good measure. Ellie. Look out here.
Oh, looking for that draping guillotine once again. Kita nowhere close to the ropes. Is she going to have to tap out? Look how the legs are off the ground. There's nothing to be able to stand on, nothing to be able to brace against.
I think Ellie released the hold, though. Not done dealing out punishment just yet.
How much can Kita have left in the tank here as now Ellie, after the fury of strikes, has the cover in. Kita is not even moving. Kita is out. I think that guillotine choke, I think Kita's passed out.
I think so. It wasn't the submission that finished Kita off, but it was a combination of the submission and the other moves. So Ellie going to be the first one moving on to Fallout to fight for the Women's Cruiserweight Championship. Up next, though, I got to ditch the headset for this one, Seb.
Absolutely. My broadcast colleague Jack Mitchell heading backstage here, getting prepared as he takes on Dylan Young's tag team partner Kyle Matthews in tonight's main event.
Fallout in the air, breathing poison everywhere. Fallout, can't escape. We built a fire, now feel its weight.
We cannot wait until our first PLE of the new season. FWE Fallout, December 4th at 7 o'clock in Las Vegas.
Is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Dayton, Ohio, weighing in at 197 pounds, Kyle Matthews.
And we found out earlier on tonight that the man flanking Kyle Matthews, accompanying him to the ring, Dylan Young, three-time Tri-Wizard champion, will get another shot at that title belt in the main event of Fallout on December the 4th, Extreme Rules match. Go back to Paramount. Jack Mitchell able to defeat Ernie the Keebler Elf in the main event while celebrating Dylan Young with strike from behind. He would grab the Tri-Wizard title and he would nail Jack Mitchell right in the forehead with that belt. The animosity between these two, it has started to reach a boiling point. It'll come to a head at Fallout as the champion who retained at Paramount makes his way down the ramp. If you're brand new to FWE and what this rivalry is all about, let's take you on a little journey. Let's go all the way back to Saturday night at Springfield. Back at the beginning of September, Jack Mitchell challenges Dylan Young for the Tri-Wizard Championship. He would go on to win that belt. Dylan Young, obviously frustrated, would later on at Mortal Kombat enter himself after an attack on Jack Sparrow inside of the Elimination Chamber, costing Jack Mitchell a chance at retaining then the Wayfinder Cruiser Championship. We fast forward to last week at Paramount, Dylan Young again with a preempted attack on Mitchell after his title retention against Ernie the Keebler Elf in the main event. Now, we are going to have Mitchell versus Young, Extreme Rules at Fallout. The Tri-Wizard title will be on the line, and guarantee you Jack Mitchell is going to have eyes in the back of his head in this matchup. He's going to have to concentrate on Kyle Matthews, but with Dylan Young looming on the outside, that definitely cannot be a good thing if you're the champion. Kyle Matthews and Jack Mitchell, I believe this is the first time that these two are going to square off one-on-one inside of an FWE ring. Big Springard forearm there by Jack Mitchell, and you see him looking over there. He took a glance at Dylan Young, keeping an eye on where the former champion is at all times. Of course, earlier on tonight, the announcement made that the new FWE on-site commissioner, Woody Jack Mitchell requested the match against Dylan Young. Woody said as long as the title's on the line, the two will face off at our upcoming PLE here in December 4th at Fallout. Mitchell with a drop kick there to Kyle Matthews. Kyle looked like he was trying to roll underneath the bottom rope there for a little bit of a reprieve. Mitchell not going to allow it, reining in the right hands. Irish whipped off the ropes. Big knee to the gut, kick to the back of the head. Here's the cover by Jack Mitchell on Kyle Matthews to put him away early, and Kyle will power out at 1. Again, reminder next week, folks, next Thursday night, the women's hardcore title on the line as Wonder Woman. Oh, hold on, hold the phone. There you go. That's exactly what I was saying. You knew Dylan Young wasn't out here just for moral support. Hooks the leg of Mitchell there. Kyle Matthews going to take advantage of the distraction. Dylan has been the advocate of underhand tactics here for the last couple of months. I've not been shy about my personal problems with him as he ended up taking out leader of the Black Pearl crew, Jack Sparrow, in order to get inside of Elimination Chamber. As Mitchell with the cover there on Matthews, kick out at 1. Nice recovery here by Mitchell, and now look at this little jaw jacking going to go on at ringside. Look at Dylan. What are you looking at me for? What did I do? Surprised the referee didn't see Dylan grabbing Jack's leg, and Dylan maybe gets sent to the back here. Now Kyle might be in trouble here on the outside. Oh, wow. Big kick to the lower back there by Jack Mitchell, but next week, next Thursday night, Women's Hardcore Championship on the line. The new champion, Jessica Shelton, her first title defense, gonna be against Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman let Jess name the stipulation. Title will be defended inside of a steel cage. Referee at a count of 6 here. Kyle helps Jack up to his feet here, and now Kyle might be looking maybe for the count-out victory. Count of 8. Mitchell started to stir, but the referee's at a count of 9. Mitchell's going to get underneath the bottom rope in time before the referee hits 10. This match continues. Kyle now looking for the side slam. Well, I thought he was. Instead, he's going to actually do the backbreaker across the knee, and now just wrenching Jack Mitchell across his knee, a bow and arrow submission. Irish whipped. Mitchell with a drop kick. That might have been a Claymore, actually. Cover is in here by Mitchell to put Kyle away, and he'll do so, despite the distractions of Dylan Young.
Here is your winner, Jack Mitchell.
Well, Dylan Young tried to play a factor into this. Jack Mitchell said, not today. He will put Kyle Matthews away in tonight's main event, but those two will face off at Fallout. Thanks for joining us here this evening, folks. We'll see you next week.